Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage. So today is an exciting day. It's officially cage time. We have everything we need to start our cage project for the truck. Like I said before, our original plan was to go with an SFI 25/6 cage, which a truck under 5,000 pounds, it'll allow you to run up to a 799. Yes, that's being very hopeful for the future, but my thinking was, while we're in there, while you can move stuff around, just get it done. Well, the plan is now we're going to do the 850 part of the cage, see how that all goes. And before we get to really welding everything in, if we're comfortable and it seems like things are going well, maybe we will jump onto that 25/6 stuff, or at least some of the stuff we won't be able to get to later. But the 850 cage is the most important part. Do I anticipate going faster than 850 this year? No, that would be awesome though. But while we're there, so like I said, today's an exciting day. We went and got our tube. So we got our tube, which we will go into the tube here in a second, from S&W Race Cars. They're up near Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, about an hour here from the house. So I ran up with the trailer, and man, quite the load for that trailer. We got our 22-foot trailer was just, it was all the truck had to move it. Obviously, I'm joking. We had 3 tubes on there, but just with the length, we needed the trailer. So anyhow, we went to S&W Race Cars to get the tube because I called a bunch of metal places around, and any place that could get it in for me, the prices seemed very high from anything I had seen like online. Also, I called a couple chassis shops. Also, some of the metal places will only deal with like a business. But I called a couple chassis shops and got the recommendation, and basically they all kind of said your best bet's probably S&W Race Cars locally, because you know they make the kits so you can put a cage in your own truck, your Mustang, whatever. They do make them for 2nd and 3rd gens. I talked to them about the truck in the past. They don't have a 4th gen blueprint, but they could measure it up and bend us up a cage, which is probably I would say you get a little better result than just their generic one. But anyhow, they make cages every day, or at least cage kits, so they have material, and they had plenty of it when I called. So that's why we went with S&W. Very easy, call up, say, hey, here's what I want, and it's nice. They're open till like 6 p.m., so it really gives you a chance to get up there after work. So, all right, onto the tube. So as you guys can see, the buggy hauler trailer was certainly overloaded with these 3 20-foot tubes. So we got 60 foot of 1 5/8 083 wall tubing. This is chromoly tubing, so it is a little more expensive, but we can run a lighter wall, thus have a lighter cage. So we're doing this. I want to do it once. I want to do it right, and with all the cutting and stuff we've done, it just makes sense to spend the money and get the lighter tube. So this is what our whole 850 cage will be made of. We'll go into the cage a little bit here in a second. And then we have a thing of 083 2x3 box tubing. That is just mild steel. That's for our outriggers. So that's the tubing we picked up from S&W Race Cars. Like I said, went up, got it, nice, clean, easy, and now we're back. So like I said, that's 1 5/8 083 wall, which is the chromoly size that the NHRA has deemed for like an 850 cage or a roll bar or anything like that, rather than a mild steel cage, which would be thicker. So when I said the 850 cage is all going to be that 083 wall, that's because the plan originally was to go to this 25/6 cage, which is for a truck under 5,000 pounds, with this would get you down to a 799 cert. This is basically for the diesel guys. A gas guy will look at this and be like, that's absurd. What do you mean maximum of 5,000 pounds? Yeah, this is for us. So as you can see, let me see here. That's the cage. That's the 25/6 cage right there. As you can see, whole lot going on. For basic purposes, basically all the red tube, well, all the red tube is the 1 5/8 083 wall that we'll be using. That's basically an 850 cage minus, I think, the bars out the back. I don't know if the 25/6 needs them, because I know if you put a funny car cage in an 850 cage, you don't need the bars out of the rear window. So anyhow, that's what a 25/6 cage looks like. As you can see, just a lot of shit going on. So The plan is we're going to do the 850 cage, see how we feel, see how things are going. If everything seems to be going well, and that, like, if the confidence level is high and everything's working out well, we're going to actually try and do the 25/6 cage. Now, we might not do the entire thing. If there's stuff that is easy to get to, even with all the cage work in there, we might save that for later. But just get some of the stuff that would be really difficult to get to after everything's in. That's the plan. I don't plan on us going below an 850 this year. I mean, if we got to an 850 or below, I would be extremely ecstatic. But just preparing for the future, high hopes, high aspirations. So why did we do in a cage? Well, like everything else with the truck, we've done it here in the garage. Yes, John builds the transmission, Ryan does our tuning, and now we have Freedom building us an engine. But everything up until this point has been done right here. I'm very proud of that. The fact that I can go to the track and you'll have people ask you, who built the truck? Well, I built the truck. So we're gonna try and tackle the cage on our own, because the same thing, I think I have the confidence that we can do it, and we can learn a new skill in doing that, because I've never actually really done tube notching and basically tube bending to this sort. Yes, I did some conduit bending when I was in school, but that is like a decade ago. So that's kind of the game plan. We're going to try and learn this and do it. So how are we going to get this all done? Well, that's where everything here on the table comes into play. So as you guys might have seen earlier, I did stop at Harbor Freight on my way to S&W and picked up a couple things. I picked up this angle gauge, which I believe will only work like this. We're going to come up, I'm going to try and make a little holder for it, something I had seen online, so we can actually use this when we rotate any tube or move the tube. We can keep it level so we don't get any dog legs and have the thing, you know, just kind of going all over the place. So I don't think as this sits it will really work, but if we make something, it'll probably work pretty good. Got a free light with the coupon at Harbor Freight, because they always have them discount coupons and all. And actually, it's pretty bright, and I think this could actually come in handy. So it's got a hook and a magnet. Pretty nice. So also we got our Harbor Freight tubing and pipe notcher. So we'll open this up, see what we got going on. So here it is. Here's our Harbor Freight tube notcher. So it's very simple, as you would expect for Harbor Freight and what the price obviously was. So our tube will go in here and clamp down with that T-handle. Our hole saw will, hole saw will screw onto here like that, and we will be able to have a cordless drill or a corded drill, whatever we prefer, and we'll be able to, you know, use this to hold our cutter so we can drill and get that notch perfectly to the tube and have it right. Now, not every tube is obviously going to be at a right angle, so this does have an adjustment so we can get our notch to be at different angles, which is very helpful. Now, it does have a mounting plate, so it looks like you could actually spin this and do it horizontally. So we will have to probably figure out a way to mount this somehow and make it work for our purpose. But yeah, like I said, for what the price is, being Harbor Freight and all, I figure it was worth the try, so that way we're not coping things by hand. So that's enough of the Harbor Freight crap. I call it crap because I always just very leery of this stuff. There's a reason that the price is so low, but something like this, I think we will only use it. We're only going to use it here doing this one project. So if it does fail and we like using a notcher, we'll spend the money to get a better notcher. But these boxes over here, that's the good stuff. As you can see right here, this is from Pro Tools, made in the USA. So what do we got? This is the exciting thing. So there it is, our Pro Tools tubing bender. So we'll get this out and check her out. So this is the first piece of the puzzle right here. This is the actual Pro Tools bender itself. It's a very simplistic design. It's a manual bender, but it's perfect for the at-home guy. There's really two in this price range, or, you know, like the bottom of the barrel, if you will, to look at. It's a Pro Tools and a JD Squared, and basically it's kind of like a toss-up of which one to go with. They got a little bit different stuff, but they're the same basic thing. So we went with the Pro Tools. I know it doesn't kind of look like much. We'll have to wait until we get it set up to really explain it, but it's all big hardware, nice machine pins, all kinds of good stuff like that. Got a nice little dial here for our angle indication, and this is our handle. So like I said, really you have to have this thing mounted to actually see how it works. So the other box that we have from Pro Tools is right here, and this is what's going to make this all possible. Some of this stuff was actually in the other box, like the pointer for the dial and the handle, but this is the meat and potatoes of it. This is the die. So this is what will allow us to bend our 1 5/8 tubing. Now the thing that sucks about these is for every size tubing, you need a different die. So if you're going to do 1 1/2, you need an 1 1/2 die. And really the real kicker is this costs about the same as that. So that's kind of where they get you. But majority of our cage is 1 5/8. So this is where we're starting. So you got your I don't know what you call it, honestly. But you got your shoe, if you will, your bending shoe, and then your mandrel, I guess it is, or whatever. But this is what helps keep the tight fit, so you're not getting wrinkles in your tube and all that. Because when you're actually using tube like this, you can't use one of those Harbor Freight pipe benders that they have. You're going to get crinkles. It's not going to be right and all that. So like I said, this is our bender. This is what's going to allow us to make all our cage and make it fit how we want it. So you have to have a way to mount this. Like I said, it kind of just looks like a menagerie of crap. It's very confusing looking at it. It took me a few minutes to figure it out. Well, we got a stand for it. So they actually sell these, but I decided to make one myself because it's a piece of flat bar, a piece of square tubing, and another piece of flat plate with 4 holes in it. So that whole bender will get mounted on here and to the concrete floor here in the garage. So that's kind of our game plan for tonight, is get this thing mounted up so we are ready to start our cage tomorrow. I'll get our measurements, try and figure out what I'm going to do, all that. But let's get this thing mounted, get this bender up so I can show you guys what's going on. So guys, I already screwed up. So I drilled our hole. It's a 1/2 hole with the Hildy gun that I borrowed from work, and I used a 1/2 bit. I'm used to using the stud type anchors. Drill the hole in your piece a little bit bigger. You can put them in, hammer them down, tighten them up, and you're good. The problem with that is then you have a threaded stud sticking out of our garage floor. So we're going to use these drop-ins. Well, I need it bigger than a 1/2. This is a 1/2 thread drop in, but we need like a 5/8 or a 9/16 masonry bit. So I screwed up there. We can't mount this thing tonight. So I C-clamped it to the transmission jack. I can at least show you the setup and kind of how it works, but we won't be able to like bend the test piece or anything like that. So I'll set the bender up here on the transmission jack. Hopefully nothing falls over, and that way you guys can see how the whole thing works. All right, so there is our bender up on our stand. So it is was a little bit of a pain in the ass to put together because the trans jack has gotten wobbly over time. I think once we have something sturdy, it'll be a lot easier to put together. The only thing not on it is the degree wheel, which will mount right there with a couple Allens and our pointer. But we'll wait until we have everything finished assembly to put these on. I don't want to mess them up. So basically what we'll do is we'll get our tube in there however we got to do it. probably get it close and then, you know, take this out. I really don't know what that looks like yet. I haven't done it, obviously. So then once we have the tube in, we'll put this shoe on. Put that shoe on there. We can tighten this bolt down here to keep it taut, and you can also tighten this bolt here to keep this part of the shoe assembly taut back here. The backing bar, I don't know many of the names for this stuff. So how this thing works is once you have your tube in there set, you know, figure out what you want. You take this handle here, put it in and pull, reset and pull, and continue on and on. So yes, it is a bit of a process. We'll see how it goes. Now there are kits on like the eBay where you can actually put a hydraulic ram on here and then have like air over hydraulic or whatever. And then it actually fits a hydraulic ram that you can get at Harbor Freight, but I think it's the same ram as is on a lot of the engine hoists. It's about the same size, I should say. I don't know if it's the same because those have a pump. So anyway, if you can get a ram at Harbor Freight. So the other thing with this is once you run out of stroke on this, like say you're way out here, all you got to do, well, put that back in. All you got to do is push that away, push your arm back, find the next available hole, and you're good to start cranking out some more bend. So this bender is actually, this shoe is actually good to 180 degrees. Not that I know we'll be doing any of that, but that's how far it can go. I think they make them so they only go to 90 degrees as well. It's something like that. Or these go to like 200 and some only go to 180. I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is the one that will go further. So that's our bender. That's what's going to make all this happen. So guys, that's how we're going to go about bending our cage up and all that. It's going to be a process, especially to start learning the bender, learning all that stuff, trying to lay everything out, trying to get it right. There's going to be a learning curve, that's for sure. I was really hoping to actually bend a test piece this evening, just bend a 90-degree angle, see how it looks, and just see where everything falls and, you know, what our gain is or our loss or whatever it is. But that was not the case because I screwed up. I just assumed that half-inch anchor, half-inch bolt, or a half-inch drill, well, it's a different style anchor than I'm used to. Oh well. So I'm going to spend the rest of the evening trying to get the tubing actually indoors because we're supposed to have some weather tomorrow. So I'm going to get that stuff kind of taken care of so it's not outside in the crap, whatever it's going to be, snow, rain, sleet, whatever. So we have everything good to go and it's just not out in the weather. I kind of rambled on extra about that for some reason. But anyway, guys, so I hope you're excited for the cage. I know I am. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Get out in your garage. Get the wrenching on your truck.